Hello, learners. Welcoming all of you once again to this session where we are dealing with managing of human resource management. In today's session, we'll be dealing with most, prevalent and a topic which is budding up these days and is gaining importance is industrial democracy. We'll be covering up this session in two parts. Part one, where we'll be looking around and focusing on empowerment, quality circles, workers' participation in management, and workers' participation in management in India. Part two, we will be focusing on the forms of workers' participation in management in different countries and evaluation of workers' participation in management and measures for effective workers' participation management. Now, if you go back and look in an organization, the span of control, chain of command, direction and supervision used to lay with the supervisors. There used to be a different regime, there used to be a different process, there used to be a different hierarchy and structure 15 years back when you go back and all. And when a survey was conducted, employees felt, you know, uh, such type of environment or a culture in an organization leads to dehumanized workplace, which is repetitive in nature. It leads to boredom, frustration, and alienated employees are there. Then larger organizations block individual growth, their self-development and self-identity. And in such a situation, it led to apathy and waste of human activities and dysfunctional practices like restrictive, wasteful, and destructive functioning. So the concept slowly gained importance. The vacuum, the area was looked up by researchers, and study came out with a thing like industrial democracy. Now, if I were to say that if my mind would have told me that look, you are born in India, you are an Indian, but you don't have the right to think or right to speak or right to hear or right to say or say, definitely my life would have been very, very demotivating. So the same thing employ goes and is applicable to the organization as well. New new corporations where the employees are there, they are young, intelligent, enthusiastic, and they are ambitious. Uh, they find it very difficult these days to find a rigid atmosphere to work in. After all, they are knowledgeable workers, they need information, they also need to open up, they need participation, they expect two-way communication, they expect two-way interaction, they need autonomy, they want challenge, and they want to contribute. So it is very difficult to hold such employees in a traditional way of approach of traditional organization. If anyone were to say that an organization's greatest asset are its buildings or its machineries, no one would say yes, but definitely an organization's greatest asset is its human resource, and where the organization has to emphasize and focus on the training and development part, and has to look into the growth and development factor as well. So, an empowering organization is required to meet these requirements by adopting the elements of industrial democracy. And industrial democracy would include empowerment, quality circle, and workers' participation in management. What is empowerment? Empowerment is the process of passing authority and responsibility to individuals at lower levels in the organization hierarchy. To achieve empowerment, managers must be sure that employees at the lowest hierarchy levels have the right mix of information about process, quality, customer feedback and events, knowledge of the work, the business, the total work system, power to act and make decisions about the aspects of work, rewards tied to business result and growth in the capacity and contribution. To work autonomously or independently of management control and direction. Now, empowerment. When you say empowerment, empowerment would result or would cater to or would produce higher quality products and services. There will be less absenteeism. The turnover would certainly lower down, better decision making, better problem solving, which in turn will result in greater organizational effectiveness. Now we take this concept and apply it to a retail setup where there is a floor management. The department manager and he or she is handling a particular department as men's formals, and he has a cluster of people who are allotted different brands and all. Now a person has to retail is a 365 days business, but a person has to take his week off, which generally falls on a weekday from Monday to Friday, except the support function, where the finance would come into picture, where the warehouse operations would come into picture, and where the HR department or the marketing or public relations department would come into picture. Now, on the day of, suppose there is a medical emergency in a manager's house and the manager has decided to be on leave for 10 days a month. If he would have created a second line or a second hierarchy for himself or herself, definitely his absenteeism or his taking to leaves will not pinch the organization, because he has the second line of managers or second line of leaders who are there to take the decision on his behalf, and the business is running smooth. So empowerment is the process of passing authority and responsibility to individuals at the lower levels in the organization's hierarchy. Now, what are the characteristics of empowered organization? Companies with high level of autonomy usually have the following characteristics. They invest a lot of time and effort in hiring to make sure new recruits can handle workplace freedom. Their organizational hierarchy is flat. They set loose guidelines so workers know their decision-making parameters. Accountability is paramount. Results matter more than processes. High quality performance is always expected. Openness and strong communication encouraged. Employee satisfaction is the core value. Now, one must introduce a guideline where empowerment can be introduced in an organization. Now, understanding why the organization is making the change and what it wants to achieve. Selecting strong leaders to head the change. Involving people in planning how to introduce empowerment. Creating transition project terms to test and coordinate efforts and communicate results. Providing training in new skills and behaviors. Establishing symbols of change and acknowledging rewarding achievements and all. Empowerment certainly benefits the organization itself by creating an environment which encourages proactively problem solving, accepting challenge, innovation, continuous improvement, optimum utilization of employees, a high degree of employee motivation, and enhancement of business performance. This was all about empowerment, and moving on, we'll be looking into quality circle. What is quality circle? The word, if you simplify it, it's like a round circle of quality. Okay, so there are various forms and styles of participative management, and one of them, which is widely applied and practiced, is quality circle. Quality circle as a concept, it came first in USA, which was very successful, and then it was applied in Japan. This technique boosted the Japanese firms to endeavor for high quality products at low cost. Quality circle technique basically consists of a group organization of 8 to 10 employees who meet each other during a meeting, which is held once in a week. It could be in a fortnight or a month, depending upon the problem and the frequency of generation. The members, they discuss various problems related to quality. They recommend alternative solutions to solve the problems by investing the causes. Depending upon the recommendations, corrections are made by the management. Corrections are checked and then accepted as a norm if the solution works. They generally hold the meetings in the organization premises, in the meeting rooms or board rooms, where they discuss with the reporting managers or the department managers or the team leaders and all. And generally, they come out with a prospective solution. And the employees, one thing which is common is they share the same responsibility, and this leads to good participative environment and greater accountability of decisions. Since the employees are very good at analyzing and decision making, the part of quality making, the part of quality circle includes teaching employees group communication skills, quality strategies and measurement and problem analytics techniques. So this is all about empowerment and quality circle. And now we'll look upon workers' participation in management. What are the prerequisites of an effective participation? There should be a strong democratic and representative unionism for the success of participative management. There should be mutually agreed and clearly formulated objectives for participation to succeed. There should be a feeling of participation at all levels. Suppose there is a problem, then and in a team there are 20 employees, so they should write and give, or they should participate either verbally or in writing what the solution could be or how better we can project a thing. So there the participative management works now. There should be an effective consultation of the workers by the management. The management and the workers must fully faith in the soundness of the philosophy underlying the concept of labor participation. Education and training makes a significant contribution to the purposeful working of participative management. Till the participative structure is fully accepted by the party, legislative support is necessary to ensure that rights of each other are recognized and protected. And finally, there are forums of participation, areas of participation, and guidelines for implementation of decisions should be specific, and there should be prompt follow-up action and feedback. Now, there are different forms of participation. Different forms of participations, when it comes to mind, it triggers the thought of collective bargaining in works council, joint management councils and committees, board representations, workers' ownership of enterprise. What are the objectives of workers' participation in management? The objective of workers' participation in management would be to raise level of motivation of workers by closer involvement. That is one of the objective of workers' participation of management. Second thing is to provide opportunity for expression and to provide a sense of importance to workers, to develop ties of understanding leading to better effort and harmony, to act on device to counterbalance powers of managers, and to act on a panacea for solving industrial relations problem. Elements of workers' participation. Workers' participation means mental and emotional involvement rather than mere physical activity. Participation must motivate a person to contribute to a specific situation, to invest his own resources, such as an initiative, knowledge, creativity, ingenuity, in the objectives of the organization, and thirdly, it encourages people to share responsibility for a decision or activity. Sharing of responsibility commits people to ensure the success of the decision or activity. Now, as we had just discussed about the forms of participation, we would in depth deal what are the forms of participation. The first being collective bargaining. Collective bargaining always results in collective agreements which lay down certain rules and conditions of service in an establishment. Agreements are normally binding on the parties. Collective bargaining is based on the principle of balance of power, but in actual practice, each party tries to outbid the other and get maximum advantage when using. If necessary, threats and counter threats like strikes, lockouts, and other direct actions. Joint consultation, on the other hand, is a particular technique which is intended to achieve a greater degree of harmony and cooperation by emphasizing matters of common interest. So, workers prefer to use the instrument of collective bargaining rather than ask for a share in management. And being on the top management, one must encourage collective bargaining. Workers, owners of enterprise. Social self-management is an example of complete control by management of workers through an elected board and workers' council, which is very prominently seen in Yugoslavia. Okay. In such a system, there exist two distinct managerial and operative functions with different sets of persons to perform them. Though workers have the option to influence all the decisions taken at the top level, in actual practice, the board and the top management team assume a fairly independent role in taking major policy decisions for the enterprises, especially in economic matters. Board representatives. The role of a worker representative in the board of directors is essentially one of negotiating the workers' interest with the other members of the board. At times, this may result in tension and friction inside the boardroom. The effectiveness of workers' representative at the board depend upon his ability to participate in decision making. His knowledge of the company affairs, his educational background, his level of understanding, and also on the number of worker representatives in the board. Now moving on to the forms of participation, there is works councils and joint management councils and committee. What is joint management council and committee? Mainly these bodies are consultative and advisory, with decision making being left to the top management. This system of participation is prevalent in many countries including Britain and India. As they are consultative and advisory, neither the management nor the workers take them seriously. What is Works Council? If you ask about work councils, these are nothing but these are exclusive bodies of employees assigned with different functions in the management of an enterprise. The work councils have various decision-making functions. In some countries, their role is limited only to receiving information about the enterprise. And as we know, in Yugoslavia, the Works Council, they have wider decision-making power of when it comes to an enterprise like appointment, promotion, salary fixation, and also major investment decisions. This we can also term or boil down to employer-employee relations. In workers' participation management, what happens is the participation generally would mean mental and emotional involvement rather than mere muscular activity. A person is self-involved rather than his body. It is more psychological than physical. It is an idea in participation which motivates persons to contribute to achievement of organizational goals by creative suggestion and initiatives. The third idea is it encourages people to accept responsibility. They are ready to work with the manager instead of against him. Now, workers' participation. Workers' participation is given prominence and is encouraged these days because workers' participation in management, it is a highly complex concept. The notion that workers should participate in management of enterprise which employ them is not a new concept. It has apparently existed since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, but it was dominant for some time. But again, it has increased its importance. Okay. And the philosophy which underlines workers' participation stresses democratic participation in decision making, maximum employer-employee collaboration, minimum state intervention, realization of a greater measure of social justice, greater industrial efficiency, and higher level of organizational health and effectiveness. So now the effects of participative in decision making would be like increased the participative decision making factors. The motivational factors could be which would motivate would be increased trust and sense of control, more ego involvement, identification with organization, group pressure, support, and higher goals. This would lead to the effect of this would lead to less resistance to change, more acceptance of commitment to decisions and changes. The cognitive factors would be more upward communication, better utilization of information, better understanding of job and decision by employees, more creative ideas, which will lead to increased productive efficiency, decision making, output decision quality, lower costs, and reduce conflict. Increased value attainment, self-expression, respect, influence, independence, quality, and money are other factors in participative decision making which will lead to reduced absences and turnover. Now, coming to the end of the session, one thing is being a worker or being a team player. I as an individual would certainly not like my boss or team leader to be bossy and all. It happens. At times you feel, are we in a professional organization where everything is clear, or we are still in a school where pupils listen to their teachers and all. So the three concepts which we discussed in the first part, the empowerment factor, the quality circle, and workers' participation, are very important topics and which are budding and should be encouraged in industrial democracy. So, thank you, learners. We'll be dealing with the second part in our next session. Thank you very much.